So, I've been watching the Manosphere type stuff lately, and just thought I'd put in a little quick video here to kind of tie a couple of things together that I kind of thought were interesting. And before I forget, um, the video that Sargon of Akkad did on cult-like behavior, which I think a lot of people in the Manosphere probably started to watch or seen. I'll try and put a link below. Um, I think it's very germane. I think a lot of people in the manosphere really need to look at that, and that is actually one of the biggest things that is corrupting the manosphere right now. When I say the manosphere, I say that meaning anything that is dealing with men's issues, men's sexuality, men's position in society, political issues affecting men, etc., etc., etc. One thing that I've noticed is that there's a real tendency among MRAs primarily, I could say almost exclusively, attacking people on the right and the alt-right, etc., and saying, well, you guys don't represent us, you don't represent men, etc., etc. And what you guys have to understand is that not everybody's a leftist, and not everybody believes that, even if we're leftists or are leftists, and not everybody believes what you do. And when you look at the video that Sargon did, it actually kind of puts it in a really good perspective, in that there are people that have certain beliefs that think that that is the belief that is correct and proper, and that everybody else has to believe the same thing. And if you don't, well, you're not a real MRA or real MGTOW or real whatever. So, with that video, it kind of solidified a little bit of stuff in my head anyway, about what was going wrong with the manosphere, and what is going wrong with society in general. You take a look at social justice warriors, and what are social justice warriors but cult members? They are just simply cult members on a wide scale. So, paying attention to that video that Sargon has produced will definitely help with, of course, battling the social justice warrior scourge. But the other side, too, is that it's important to apply it to ourselves as well, and understand that we are just as susceptible to this type of behavior as any other human being on the planet. And we are falling victim to it right now. The idea of, for example, the red pill, in my mind, is one of the psychological memes that sort of ties the manosphere together. The idea of saying red pillars as being equivalent to PUAs is the fault of the subreddit, the red pill, but it is a complete wrong thing to do. I think that everybody in the manosphere, every male, female, transgender, gay, straight, etc., everybody needs to start to understand that all of the aspects of the manosphere, including the traditionalist aspect, are important. You need to gain an understanding of each of those perspectives, and you need to sort of settle in on what fits for you, but you don't. Originally, see, years ago, long time ago, I had a conversation with Mr. Paul Elam, and said, we were discussing whether or not the red pill was a brand name or a concept, and whether or not he should actually call Voice for Men the red pill or something. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, the idea was, is this a brand or is this a concept? And I argued in the concept direction, simply because the red pill is more than whatever one particular aspect that somebody wants to say it is. It's more than picking up chicks. It's more than understanding the political reality around you. It's more than breaking the sort of the hold that society has on men to do exactly what society wants rather than what men want. And it's important that we've started to lose sight of that, and it's important to actually get back to that concept and to understand. Like originally, I envisioned anyway. And at this time, it was sort of there were emerging groups of people. I envisioned sort of the MRA versus MGTOW versus PUA thing as more like teams on a league, sort of vying for the championship, but friendly competition. I expected that feminists and social justice warriors, which at the time I just kind of viewed as the politically correct, would form sort of the opposition, that which, and the establishment, etc., that the PUAs, MGTOWs, and MRAs would ultimately be fighting against, but, between the three of them, sort of a friendly rivalry. The problem is that we had demagogues that kind of popped up, decided that their view is the correct view and that everybody else could go to hell. And those people started fomenting all sorts of really nasty sort of back and forth between each of the sort of the aspects of the manosphere. And that, I think, is where we're sitting right now in terms of why are we weak? Now, I watched a video a while back. There was a young guy from the ICME conference in London. And apparently his concept was why, his topic was why are young men not actually joining the manosphere, not joining the MRA part of the manosphere. And it made me laugh because years and years and years ago I had many arguments with so many people on I guess essentially the little controlling clique at AVFM, saying that the men's rights movement needed to embrace the terms that are being brought up by PUAs. They need to understand that male sexuality being under attack was a very central part of what was going to be something that could essentially be the way to break what was happening to men. And that was the part of the attacks on men. The things that men care about the most are money, primarily because they can get chicks that way. Guys, really, honestly, if they don't need money to get women, they really don't care. Most men don't care. There are some men that want to be sort of the top guy or whatever. Most men, like 90% plus, probably don't care that much. Now, the problem is that our society that we're in obviously doesn't fit that particular mold anymore. The pickup artist end of things is dealing with the situation, and in my view, dealing with the situation in a very effective manner, but only in one direction. They don't understand the risks. They don't understand the political ramifications, and or they don't care. Many PUAs are also MGTOW. Which a lot of people don't understand either, but MGTOW is basically a man doing what the fuck he wants, not what society expects of him. It's got nothing at all to do with whether or not you're in a relationship. You're doing what you want, when you want, and you know what? If there's a girl that wants to come along for the ride, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So, this sort of cult-like behavior, this desire to be part of a group, this desire to be the one that has the answers, the correct people, they're on the right side of history. That same impulse that drives social justice warriors and drives feminists are the exact same impulses that drive a good portion of the people that are involved in the manosphere. The people that are asking you, don't take what I say as gospel, go and check it out, or the people that are encouraging you and giving you links to other, even divergent areas of the manosphere, those are the people you need to be listening to. Because the manosphere is there for a reason. It's a smorgasbord. And despite the best efforts of an awful lot of people that I find myself in very vehement disagreement with these days, people like Milo Yiannopoulos, people or channels like Top Hats and Champagne, Computing Forever, um, channels that have zero to do with the manosphere, zero to do with men's rights, nothing at all, are championing these issues far more effectively than the men's rights movement has ever even thought to try to do. So Sargon of Akkad has a bigger audience than the entire manosphere. So it's good to see these arguments are coming out, and it's the reason why these people are effective, and the reason why I'm saying that the people in the manosphere need to actually rethink where they're sitting is because, for example, Milo, Sargon, etc., they come from outside the manosphere. They don't have a sort of dogma that they've picked, that they decided that they fit, and then they've tossed everybody else out. What they're doing is they're reading a whole bunch of different sites from different aspects of the manosphere that they have no idea are actually from a divergent school of the manosphere. They just kind of put them all together because, frankly, that's what they should be taken as. And they're getting sort of I hate the word, you know what, I heard this forever in university. They're getting the gestalt, the whole picture of the manosphere, or as much of or a bigger picture of the manosphere than most people get. That's what people in the manosphere that are involved need to start doing on their own. They need to do that because, and a lot of people are, don't get me wrong, but there needs to be more. Because without the complete understanding, without understanding, first of all, the female psychology, how it works, and the only way to do that is to actually work with it and try and figure it out, through trial and error as well. Theory only goes so far. To the legal position that men find themselves in very specific situations, and this is where MGTOW comes in, to getting a full understanding of the value of you as a man, just being a human being. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to have a certain job. You don't have to have a certain car. You don't have to have a certain house. All you got to do is just be alive and a guy. And you should have a certain amount of value. Now, how much value that is obviously going to be determined by the society we live in and your own psychology. But the thing is that we live in a time where we are encouraged as men to hate ourselves right from the time that we are learning to speak. And that's assuming that we have a loving mother that just put us into a kindergarten that they thought was going to be good for them, or for us, right? So I think it's important for everybody to understand that this is a war of ideas. This is not a war of factions. This is not left versus right. This is not MRAs versus PUAs versus MGTOW to find out who's got the right idea. This is a war of, it's a million armies of one, right? I like that term from many, many years ago. We are a million armies of one in that everybody has to gain a total understanding themselves. You cannot just say, yeah, what he said, and then line up in the group behind them like the social justice warriors do. Because if you do that, frankly, you're going to be corrupted and you're going to be taken away from, you're really honestly going to be used as a tool eventually, right? Somebody eventually is going to stumble upon you and understand that you don't really know what you're talking about, but you've got lots of friends within this group. They're going to make friends with you. They're going to feed your head full of all sorts of stupid ideas, which you're going to propagate amongst your equally ill-informed friends, and then they're going to spread it through. It's important to understand what is actually happening here. And you can't do that by just reading the textbook and then mouthing the words. You need to truly read. Just read. I mean, there are so many resources out there. It's not hard to get up to speed here, but there are too many people out there that don't understand the total. It's huge. The totality of this whole problem is enormous. And there's a very simple way to get around it, but to get around it that simple way, we need a lot of people that truly understand so that they can do what they need to do without getting direction from anybody else. So please read the sidebar of every site, and Reddit that is associated with the Manosphere if you get a chance. I would actually say if you're going to read sites, you should read Rational Mail. You should read AVFM, even though I find them to be a bunch of social justice warriors. It's important to get a perspective of that end of things. You should go and you should visit Return of Kings. You should go to Chateau Hartiste. You should see Karen Strawn's videos. You should definitely check out the Honey Badgers and Alison Tiemann. Oz Conservative is a good place to go, and definitely Dalrock. You should check out Dalrock as well. The one thing that the Manosphere has fallen down on big time over the last couple of years is linking to other places that have things to say. Now, it's mostly because they don't like what they're saying, because they've all splintered off into deciding who's got the right ideas and who doesn't. Check out those sites. Check out the links from those sites to other places. Read everything you can get your hands on. Get a greater understanding of what is happening. And people, this is important. It is very important, not just for you, but it is important for everybody else in the movement as well as the society around you. It's time well spent.